We're live. Hello, and welcome to another episode of Creating Cultures that Outperform. We're continuing our human-machine teaming series, and today we're actually going to be talking about AI research assistants. They are already amazing. If you haven't used one, we're going to do a bake-off. We're going to be looking at a few different ones today, live on the show, comparing the results. But anyway, I'm Frank Wander. I'm the founder and CEO of People Productive, and I'm here with my amazing co-host, Terri Mays. So AI is a revolution. This is an inflection point. There are a few of them. The internet was one. This is just huge, and it accelerates people's ability to get work done, which is why this is human-machine teaming. Human-machine teaming is really literally changing everything. And we know that companies can achieve the largest boost of performance when humans and machines work together as allies. And they do have complementary skills. Humans are very, very creative. They understand emotion, what appeals to people, what doesn't, but the machines could do the brute force work. So, Terri, we're going to take a look at this. I'll present here. Now, we're going to cover deep research. There are a number of them out there. There's a lot of tools. ChatGPT's tool, Deep Research, was supposed to be available for any paid tier. I'm on the $20 a month paid tier. Should have been there. Didn't show up as promised. Gemini, you do get it on the paid tier. Their Deep Research Assistant is there, and Perplexities is there. Now, Perplexities you can use for free on the free tier, but you can only do 3 deep research items a day. So I was paying for Perplexity for a while, but I didn't need that and ChatGPT and the other stuff I have. So yeah, the good news is I'm not paying, but I am going to show you that part of the demo.
Yeah, this is pretty impressive for any of us that have ever had to do a research paper or back in the day, do this the hard way. But these tools are available at a relatively low price point when you think about the information access that you get for $20 a month.
Oh, unbelievable. It's amazing what you get. And you got to look into this. You know, we spent a lot of time doing research, and what we're going to do is kick off 3 different pieces of research. This is ChatGPT 4.0. If you'll see where you put in your prompt, there's a search bar. Right next to that is where deep research is going to appear. It'll probably show up tomorrow, Terri. No doubt. Day late. But anyway, I'm going to go in here and kick off this particular prompt, which is the same across all of them. We'll see what it comes up with. This is the way a blogger would do it. So we'll get that going. Let me get that. Boom. Start it. Okay. Now I'm going to move over to Gemini. So here is Google Gemini Advanced 1.5 Pro with deep research. If you see up here on the top, I have the exact same query here, and let's submit this. So it's going to go out just a sec. As you can see, this takes longer. ChatGPT is probably already done. And now we're going to move over to Perplexity, and I'll share that tab instead. So, and here you can see they have the deep research option, exact same query. And we're going to kick this off. All right. And these all just came out, by the way. So let's see. Gemini is going to come back and say, here's what I want to do. And here's its approach. Here's my plan to tackle the topic. Let me know if you need to make changes.
Frank, we can't see your Gemini screen. We still only see the Perplexity screen.
Oh, I didn't hit share this tab. Frank, you idiot. You idiot. Thank you, Terri. So here it's giving me a plan. So you can see it's already taking a somewhat different approach. And it says it's going to go to these research sites, going to analyze results, create a report, ready in a few minutes. So we're going to start the research now.
And what's amazing is with Gemini, you get all of Google's ecosystem. So you get a bigger pool of information that you can pull from. The LLM for this one is pretty large. And you'll see how you get so many different sites that it's searching and the information is being pulled together. Can you remember when we had to go and physically pull all of that information if you wanted
unbelievable
to search?
It's just crazy. And now here you can see deep research. It notifies you, throughout the process, basically. I did some of these earlier.
Yeah.
And so it's going along. I found several valuable articles. Gemini is moving along here, researching 37 websites. Of course, you can see that. So it's in the midst of doing this, going through all these different websites, gathering stuff. So this is Agentic AI. It goes out on your behalf and does stuff. 2 weeks back, we covered Operator,
Yes.
and it's the same thing, Agentic AI. And so
You can
this, of
do other
course,
things while it's operating in the background. You can go off and do something else while you're waiting for it to respond.
exactly. So this is traditional Chat GPT, and you can see, since I don't have access to deep research, it's not doing agentic AI. It's just going out off and doing using the LLM to use generative AI to come back with this result. So
Yeah.
not
And it's
very,
also telling you, it looks like it's telling you where it got the information from with each of the pieces of information
yes.
pulling together. It's telling you where it came from so you can do additional research, but it's more manual ad hoc, right? So it's not like
Yes.
the deep research that you can use through Google Gemini. I imagine that once ChatGPT makes their deep research available, it'll do all of the hard work for you. So you
Oh,
won't
it's very
have
good.
to
It's a
click on
good tool. And I think co-scientist is going to just dominate all of them in terms of really deep research. That looks like a very interesting model. And so, as Terry pointed out, you can see here that it's giving us all the citations. I understand perplexity still hallucinates a bit, so you've got to be careful with this stuff. It's really not perfect. And this, if you're blogging, this is perfect, right? You can grab this information, do it very, very quickly. But
Yeah.
if you're doing real research, like we researched 128 human factors that drive productivity and cultures, and it took years. And God, if we had had these tools,
Yeah.
that would have been unbelievable.
You can also have it create a PowerPoint presentation for you that pulls all of this information into PowerPoint and makes all the slides for you and everything. So it's getting to where, you can do all the research and have it give you the presentation and then ask it to give you talking points. And you pretty much can do the whole thing
Yeah.
using AI and just present from there. Of course, you're going to add your spin on it and go through and validate what's there, right? So it's not 100% accurate all the time.
Yeah.
So there's still some human intervention, but look at the time saving this is.
Oh, this is mind blowing.
I mean, it's just unbelievable.
And I think your point is very well taken on the PowerPoint. I have not done that yet. Were you happy with the results when you did it, Tara?
Yeah, so it just gives you a basic PowerPoint presentation, nothing exciting. The ChatGPT version is the one that I've tried before. It doesn't give you any bells and whistles. It's just the raw text on PowerPoint. I haven't played around enough with it to see if it can also add images as it's going, but I know you can use the designer when you're inside of PowerPoint
Mm-hmm.
and use all of those Microsoft AI functions to try to jazz up your slides and, create images, or not create images, but insert images and
Right.
insert different shapes and stuff like that. So I've done that many times. I've used the designer to give me suggestions on how to lay out the
Mm-hmm.
slides and then come back later to add in different photos. If you want to pick up on keywords on the slide and then add stock images or even icons, you can do all of that. And then it's relatively easy. What used to really take a very long time to do does not anymore, because the AI tools are there to assist you and to give you suggestions to get you started. And then from there, you can kind of play around with it and tweak it however you like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's it is such a huge step forward and so helpful and quick to be able to get that starting point for your work.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Even with this research here about, we've been talking, our show has just been about improving culture, and the
Mhm.
whole title, creating cultures that outperform. The heart of what we do is around helping companies bring out the best in their people
Yep.
It's, empathetic leadership and
Oh, it's the
learning
key.
how to be an empathetic leader. Having this tool available to you to really pull all of it together in bite-sized chunks. So our shows have
Yeah.
really been targeted towards doing that. But now with deep research, you could go out here and ask AI some questions and create you a plan and implement, one thing a month, or,
Oh, yeah.
different groups working on different things, so you can implement multiple activities at once, or just implement different behaviors in your organization
Mhm.
by example, right? So you
Yep.
see the research and you've got all the background information. You can systematically go through and start improving your culture with very little effort and very little cost. That's the thing
Yeah.
that just keeps blowing me
It's
away.
amazing, what you can get out of these tools. I mean, any leader that isn't improving their leadership by taking advantage of all of this information, you've got the entire, world indexed and available at your fingertips.
Yeah,
It's incredible.
absolutely.
So look at this there. This is, here's Perplexity. Here's what it did. Went through all these steps. It's giving you citations in here, as it found stuff that mattered. Apparently it used 37 different sources. It's got them here. We've got some sourcing in here. So this is Perplexity. Anatomy of disengaged workforce. So we've got these citations in here. Transactional leadership, perceived injustice. Let's take a look at how this compares to Gemini now. I'll share that tab. So they start off with understanding the problem, which I like. I did things earlier. I like Gemini better than Perplexity, personally, in terms of what I got back, kind of the readability, usability of the information.
Yeah. It looks like it tells you how to become an empathetic leader right
Yeah.
at the top,
Communication strategies, regular check-ins.
recognition and rewards. We all know that people like to be recognized for what they're doing.
Yeah.
They don't want their leader to take credit for their work. That is a big way to get people angry.
Oh my God. Yeah. Huge. And I
Yeah,
think we should put a plug in here for our series on how to motivate people without money. And of
yeah,
course, you can find that on YouTube on the People Productive channel. That was a very, very good series. And these are some of the techniques.
yeah,
I think our series on empathetic leadership, I think we did better than this personally.
yeah.
Um,
Well, we brought it to life.
we did. We used real world examples. This is
Yeah,
good. Not as good as somebody who's done it with experience talking to you, who's, you know, lived in the environment and seen the emotional impact, right? It's human emotion. And so this is gathering research, but it's not telling you I did this and it worked or that didn't work or be careful. And so these are all good things to do. I think that Gemini did a better job, actually. Would have loved to have seen, the real deep research piece. OpenAI's deep research, you know, um, let's share this.
that shows that buttons,
Can you hear that, Tara?
yeah, yeah,
Okay. So the audio's going over.
icons, and labels are more usable than buttons without labels or labels without icons. I know there are a lot of user studies on it. Would love to see a detailed report. Within here, we see GPT-4o's response is relatively brief, but really doesn't give us enough information. But
By the way, so what's on the left here? Can you see it in the thing, Tara? Because I'm over on that screen.
yeah.
Okay,
We can.
so what we got was what you see on the left here from GPT-4. Deep research wasn't available. So on the right, this is a preview for you since we couldn't pull it up. They didn't deliver it today like they said, or we would have had it live for you.
if we just look at the deep research example, I can just scroll through this and continue on and on. Now, the other thing to note with this that you can't really see within the UI is once it's within ChatGPT, you will be able to see all of the different sources that it references for whatever task it might be. Here we can see the references at the bottom here, just like you would have with a professional report. There's some other examples in here that are really.
So you could see that the deep research one looks a lot like Gemini, honestly.
Yeah.
Looks similar to me. And so the world of deep research, this is actually really changing things. You should take advantage of this. I mean, if you're researching stuff and you're in IT and you want to understand, that one happened to be on user interface, but you could go into user interface design. You could be researching all the new tools and techniques that are out there, what research papers exist, especially if you're going to be doing deep learning and stuff like that. So I think this is a breakthrough. I think these are amazing already. And there are so many of them. I'm very impressed having used these tools today. I really am. I think they did an amazing job. And giving you citations, we didn't have time to check if it was hallucinating. I read Perplexity hallucinates a little. I didn't see anything made up out there. I did it earlier and I checked it, but it's just something to be aware of. These tools can hallucinate still.
Yeah. Well, so this AI that's out there is supposed to be used in conjunction with the human. And I think that's another thing that we have to keep in the back of our mind with all of these tools. They are just that, tools. You can't rely on the tool to do all of the work. There's got to be some level of human interaction with that tool in order to make this successful. But the tool is there to assist. The tool is not there to replace. So I think that's the biggest key here is you've got to remember to go back and evaluate the information that you're reading, validate it, get multiple sources to make sure that it's actually correct. Because as the ecosystem and the language models get bigger and bigger, there's going to be false data out there. It was without fail. Somebody's going to put some false data out there.
Oh, it's out there already.
Yeah, you could get back information that's just simply not true. It's not correct. And so you want to make sure you're not passing on that information or using that as a basis to make a decision or to do anything. So you're still going to have the human engaged in this process. But man, such a time-saving tool. I just remember those days being in the library, pulling out the little cards and looking at the Dewey Decimal System number, trying to find the book on the shelf. I'm aging myself for sure, but that was the state of affairs when I had to write research papers. You had to physically go to the library. There were no online tools to assist you. You had to go physically pick up the book and read the
Always
article.
a nightmare. Always a nightmare.
Yeah, it's amazing. One of my first research positions, I was an intern at Oak Ridge Associated Universities in Oak Ridge, Tennessee. And one of my first jobs was to go and help them create a library database system for all of the articles, they had massive amounts of books and magazines and journals. And
just amazing.
All this data they had. And they wanted to convert it to a database so that it'd be easier to search. You can imagine you had, all these little cards. You got to go try to find things. It's just, it gets to be unmanageable.
It's unwieldy. I actually in college, I managed the current periodical reading room, and I think we had 400 publications in there. And then each one of the sciences, if you went to the bio building or you went to the chemistry building, physics, they all had their own libraries where you could get those authoritative journals that the PhD students and others were using to do the research. It was overwhelming, the amount of information. So Terri was on the forefront of digitizing libraries. Wow. That comes out on this show. That's incredible.
It was a lot of fun. That was something that just hadn't been done yet.
Yeah.
Well, you're out there and you're doing these things. And at the time, you don't see it as that big of a deal. But fast forward to now, all of those people that worked in databases, back in the early 80s and 90s, you're creating all these different databases. you're laying the foundation for some of the things that we're seeing now, because
Oh,
you've got all this
yeah.
electronic data available for the different tools to go and pull from. So it's pretty impressive what's happened over the years. And you think about
Yeah.
going all the way back to those cards and the Dewey Decimal System, that was the first thing I thought of today as we were just talking about the show and how far we've come with research. It's just amazing.
Yeah, it's amazing. And, if you want to play with one of these and you don't have a subscription to any of the different tools, Perplexity's free tier will let you do deep research. And I believe it was 3 a day. In the case of ChatGPT, you got to be on that paid tier, at least $20 a month. Same with Gemini, which is Google. But you could get right in there on Perplexity. It did a nice job, actually. I thought they did a very fine job on it.
And these tools, it's pretty seamless. Once you start that conversation with the AI tool, it's able to keep up with you, and it's a continuous thought conversation. So as it's giving you back research, it'll prompt you again to say, do you want me to clarify something? Do you want additional research? Do you want to go deeper in a particular area? Like, it's priming you to have a conversation with it, which I think is just fascinating.
It's amazing. So listen, we're here every Wednesday at 3:00 with another show. We're going to be continuing the human machine teaming series. Terri and I haven't decided what we're covering next week because this is moving so fast. We're discussing a couple topics. We'll see which one we think is going to work best. This was a long show at 21 and a half minutes, but we did have these 3 demos. And I think that adds something to it. People could see the types of results that come out. As always, prompting is key. Get in there, learn how to do the prompts right, and try it. Just try researching some topic you're interested in, whatever it might be.
Yeah.
And see what comes back. I highly recommend it. But, listen, we'll see you next week, hopefully. Take